If you're in learning and development or simply responsible for training others, you're probably wondering where you're going to find all the time you need to design new training. It's one thing that's commonly overlooked and one of the biggest frustrations I find in anyone who has to train others. I'm Sheridan Webb of the Training Designers Club, and I would like to share with you 3 tips that have really helped people to cut their design time without compromising quality. Tip number 1. Be super clear of your aim and your objective. Make sure you know exactly what your training is trying to achieve and keep that in mind at all times. It will stop you going down rabbit holes and round in circles. Trust me, it's worth having that clarity in your mind. Tip number 2, never ever start in PowerPoint. I know that might sound counterintuitive because there's a part of you that thinks, well, if I do that, I'm going to get a lot done to start with. But PowerPoint forces you to think in a linear way, and you end up going into far too much detail too soon. So when you come to the review and the sign-off stage, you might find there's a lot of it that has to be scrapped, so all that time and effort has been for nothing. Instead, start with pen and paper or post-it notes. Tip number 3 is to set aside a proper chunk of time and protect it, just like you would with delivery. If you're trying to design your training in between meetings and other things and constantly getting interrupted, you're having to constantly mentally switch, and it takes a lot of time to get back into the same train of thought that you were before. And this is why it feels like it can take a very long time to design a piece of training, because we're having to revisit old ground over and over. So do your best to set aside a day or two of focused time and protect it. You'll be amazed at how much you can achieve when you just button on down to it. You know, these are just 3 tips that people have found particularly helpful in the Training Designers Club, and there's very many more on the website and in our community, so why not go and take a look at www.trainingdesignersclub.co.uk and see what other hints, tips, how-to guides and other useful resources you can find there to help make your training design easier, quicker and less stressful. Or why not share your number 1 tip in the comments below.